right, welcome everybody to another episode of What's What VR. Today we have Caty Steward with us with Theater Baton Rouge. Hello, Caty, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well, thank you.
Awesome. How are things in your world over there? This is theater, usually is big crowds,
Yeah,
audience sitting next to each other enjoying a show, and that's kind of a no-no right now.
it is. We have gotten very creative. We have a very, very hardworking staff who is putting a lot of energy into figuring out how to do what we do without being together. We've had to rethink a couple of our shows and kind of move some stuff around, switching schedules. We've got one show that we're going, as soon as we can, it's Doll's House Part 2. It's a 4-person cast. We're going to, as soon as we can get that small group together, actually film and stream the entire performance. Our production of Anything Goes, which was supposed to be running right now, has not been able to really rehearse together because they started rehearsal right around the time lockdown was issued. So we've done some stuff, they're doing some stuff virtually, and we're going to do a little more streamlined concert version, which we'll be able to stream online for our patrons. And then we're actually going to be able to put the show in our next season. So they'll get to come back and do the full thing again. We are doing a fully digital production. Dr. Shannon Walsh is directing How I Learned to Drive. We did auditions a couple weeks ago via Zoom. They have started rehearsal via Zoom, and we are figuring out all of the bits and pieces that go together to actually invite a live Zoom audience in to see these guys perform. And we are so very excited about that. It's been a really, really cool experience. Several of our spring classes moved to an online format where the kids are getting to get taught a little project, some scene work, and they're getting to work on it at home. And then the kids are all coming back together to do Zoom performances. Our voice class has done that. Our teen acting class has done that. And we're in the middle right now. Our education staff is working to figure out how to do summer camps virtually. Just because we don't know how long everything's going to be, and then what restrictions might still be in place even once lockdown is lifted. So we've got our, plan A is camps as normal. Best case scenario, that would be awesome. We've got to think ahead and think smart so we don't get to June 1st and go, uh-oh, camps start today, but we can't have people in the building, and figure out what we can do. So it's been we've had a couple of really fantastic brainstorming sessions. And our education director, Jack Lampert, is really just gung-ho of figuring out what might work. We're putting together a survey actually right now that we're going to send out to past camp parents, just kind of like, if we do camps online, like, what would you expect? What would you look for? What would the time frame be? Our camps start at 6 years old. I know I'm a grown adult. I can't sit in front of my laptop for 8 hours and concentrate. It's not the same as being in a room and getting to work. So what does work for kids? Some kids, it's, an hour and a half, 2 hours. Some kids are fine longer. How do we find a balance and reframe our curriculum so that we're still providing the best experience that we can for these campers and for their parents, and they're getting out of it. They're learning, they're growing. So it's been a lot of really fun challenges and opportunities to learn new things. I've got a Matilda rehearsal this afternoon, a choreography rehearsal on Zoom, which is incredibly exciting. Renee Chatelaine is our choreographer for Matilda, and she has got it set up to where she's going to teach 9 kiddos between 8 and 11 choreography for an hour and a half. So I think theater, the best way to put it is theater is about living and experiencing and adapting, and that's exactly what we're doing right now.
My daughter, for her dance team the other day, had a virtual fitting, for the costumes.
Costumes, fantastic.
It was interesting to say the least, just to hear, the conversations that were kind of going on there, and just how everyone's changed. How long have you been with the theater?
So my story's kind of fun. I grew up taking classes in camps in Baton Rouge. I'm a Baton Rouge girl. I started volunteering backstage in 2011. And then with the Young Actors Program, Jack Lampert and I worked on Fiddler on the Roof Junior almost 10 years ago. Next season is the 10th anniversary of our Young Actors Program, so it's super exciting. And then I went to grad school for arts administration, and right as Jenny Ballard, our managing artistic director, was coming on staff, I told her, I was like, hey, Jenny, I've got to do this internship for school. So I'm going to come in and do your marketing and your development, because they didn't have a marketing and development person. Jenny said, well, we can't pay you anything. We don't have it in the budget to hire anybody. I said, it's okay. I'll intern for 3 months and then we'll talk about it. So I interned for 3 months. I started raising money and doing stuff. So I went part-time for about 6 months, and then a little more part-time for 6 months. And then after a year, I was a staff member, and that was 2015.
That's amazing.
And now I tell them that you will never get rid of me. I'll die in a little closet office.
It's funny how you meant, because the way you said the timeline and the little story I'm about to say is, I don't know if I heard somebody tell me the story years ago, or if it was one of those, like goal cast, type videos that you see on social media now, but the concept was, if you're trying to find that dream job, go find where you want to work and go tell them, do whatever it takes for you in your life to be able to go work for that company for free for 3 months. And the story was, the guy kind of went in, found the company and said, I'm going to come work for you for 3 months. And at the end of 3 months, I don't want you to pay me at all, but at the end of 3 months, you can either thank me for the work I've done or be so willing to pay me so I don't leave, that you're going to give me a job.
And that's pretty much exactly what happened.
It's funny. It's a real life story, but that's so true. I think for so many people, they need to find their passion, and run after it.
I mean, I was a theater kid. I have a theater degree, and it's a great degree. But I also knew that I never really wanted to leave Baton Rouge. I'd gone away to college, and I came back. I went away to grad school, and I came back. I went and worked, and then I came back. I knew this was home. But working professionally, I was a stage manager, which was all the backstage stuff, organizing. There's not a lot of that. You can't make a career out of that in Baton Rouge. You have to be willing to either travel a lot or move to a city that's got a more expansive theater scene. We have some great community theaters, and we have Swine Palace as a professional theater, but it's just not enough to fully make a career out of it. So I did the typical theater thing. I bartended for 7 or 8 years until it was just kind of everything fell into place. And I found that I really enjoy talking to people, and I'm really passionate about this organization, so I can talk to people about it. And I ultimately don't have any problem saying, hi, you like our organization and you like what we're doing? How can we benefit you? How can you making a donation help us keep going? And it's hard to find people who aren't kind of afraid of finding donations and talking to donors. And so it really all just fell into place that this was something that I really loved doing. So it made sense for me to go, hey, Jenny, I'm going to do this for you. And then you're going to give me a job. And it all worked out.
And what was the timeline on math? That was what?
So that was 2013, 2014. Somewhere in there.
So and fast forward to today, where it's the troubles, it's not, then it's, finding donors, finding, recruiting people, getting people in. Now it's like, hey, we've got people, we've got a, donor base, we've got ticket sales. Now we have a theater, but nobody's allowed in. Like, right. Never would have thought, in a million years.
That's not ever, when you are responsible for keeping an organization going, and you're working with this team of people and our board, and you think of all the things of what can we do to grow next year? What can we do to expand our programming? Trying to figure out how to have programming when you can't have people in the building is not anything that any of us ever thought was going to be a thing. We worked through the flood in 2016 when we had staff members who were displaced and volunteers who were displaced, and still wanted to come and experience the comfort of being with your theater family. I know that was something for me. It's like my childhood home flooded in 2016, and we lost everything. Had to completely redo. I know, like, I wanted to go to, I was in the middle of rehearsing for a show. I wanted to go to rehearsal. I wanted to work all day and clean up and do stuff. And I wanted to be at the theater because it's a second home. It's a second family. So in a time when everything outside is unknown and weird and not normal, it was somewhere that you could go that had that sense of comfort and normalcy. So now when everything is weird and unknown and uncomfortable, to not have that, to not be able to go sit with my theater friends and sit in the back of the house and watch a rehearsal, or it's a very different feeling, and it's weird.
It's a different feeling, but I think, we're very blessed for the time that we're in, right now. I guess to put in that perspective, like I can remember, Katrina sitting on, a couch, and the best thing was like you had like a news channel and you
Monopoly.
had, a text message. There really wasn't much, it's like, okay, I'm getting some text from people that are there, or you didn't see people. And, when you were out of power, that's what it was. But now we jump on video calls.
And we have, exactly, we have the ability to, while we can't all be in the same room, we can still have rehearsal. We had a staff meeting this morning and we only had 3 or 4 things to talk about, but we stayed on, all 9 of us stayed on for an hour just talking to each other. Because we can. We are in this time, in this era where we can talk about doing an entire show via Zoom from audition to performances, and it's amazing.
Was that show already planned? And
it's the show was planned. The show, so our season is scheduled out about 1.5 years in advance. So the entire season was planned. It was picked. The dates were done, but the show, we had every intention of doing the show in the studio with a live audience for 11 performances, just like normal. It just happened that things were growing, things were happening, and then the stay-at-home order was issued. So Jenny Ballard and Dr. Walsh got together, and it was the question of, do we just kind of wait and see what happens and then try to do the show as normal, or do we want to go ahead and just take this leap and do something cutting edge and different, but can happen now? And they made the choice to go ahead and like, let's do the show virtually. It's different. We've never done it. It's going to be a big educational experience for us and for everyone involved, but it's something that we can do now. So we can still provide theater to our community. We can follow our mission and do something.
It reminds me, believe it or not, I found actually probably 6 months ago, my little card I got from high school as a thespian, from the International Thespian Society, So I kind of found that, and then just kind of bringing back some of the memories of that. But I guess this would be from a theater world, we always had the expression, and it's always been said, the show must go on. And
the show will go on. We've been saying the shows aren't over. It's just a longer intermission. We're still here. We're working. We're getting ready for you. We're saving you a seat.
So have you heard of anybody else doing, everything from Zoom online tryouts to rehearsals to show?
So we're all, Jenny, I, like all of the staff have found like Facebook groups from other theaters that are in their specialty. So we've got a technical director group that Kenneth is in and looking at how they're doing things. There are several other community theaters that are, we're all in the same boat. Nobody can have audiences right now. So everybody's working together and kind of seeing, can we stream old shows? How do we get the rights to do that? How are we get permission from the company that owns the show to do something like that? How do we stream the shows we've already got going right now? So everybody's trying different things and figuring stuff out. There have been a couple other theaters that have been doing some virtual performances and airing that, that we're kind of looking at as a model and seeing what we can take from them. But everybody does it a little bit differently because they've all got it's all different shows. Every different script is going to require different things. So not all shows, we couldn't do something like this with Matilda. So it just depends on the show. And it's been it all ties back to that sense of community. Even multiple theaters from across the country in Europe, there's a sense of community now because we're all working to figure out how to keep ourselves going, how to keep
Right.
not, make sure that
We're
when
all in this
everything is
together.
lifted, we're all in it together.
Everybody flooded.
Everybody's in different, we may be in different boats and everybody's dealing with it differently, but we've all got the same concerns, and it's making sure that we can stay around to keep providing theater for our audiences, to keep providing community outreach, to keep doing what we've been doing for 74 years.
I was just about to say, you're about to hit a major, anniversary, 70, 4 years, about to be 75 coming around the corner.
Our 2021 season is our 75th anniversary. It's our Diamond Jubilee. So we've been planning this for a really long time too. And we're having to kind of rethink how some of that's going to work. We've had some special events that have been planned that we're not canceling anything, but we're kind of, okay, we don't know what's going to be happening in September. So we need to start coming up with a plan B just in case. A lot of what we're doing right now, along with making sure we're getting updates out there, we're doing all of these things now, is coming up with contingency plans for things that are happening for the rest of the year. Every time you see something new every day of closed until 2022, or we're reopening in May, we're just, Boy Scouts over here being prepared for anything.
Absolutely. So tell me this, it's got to be, that theater that's empty, that's horrible. We don't like it, but for you guys, that's got to be a chunk, of revenue for you guys. Ticket sales, obviously, that's a concern, and even, with everybody, we're not canceling, we're just, postponing or we're rescheduling. People still need to be able to, you still got to live, we all still have to keep going. We talk about a lot of businesses are adapting and finding new ways to, work over Zoom, work from home. You can't necessarily just open the theater at special hours. You're not able to separate people 6 feet. You don't have that luxury of, you can think all you want, but you still have a physical logistical problem, which is causing ticket sales. Is there anything that the community can help with? Have you all brainstormed any ideas?
Oh, absolutely. So individual ticket sales actually make up over 65% of our yearly budget. So it's a huge chunk of income that we're kind of having to rethink. We did a really fun fundraiser. I'm also a big sports fan. So as soon as they canceled the basketball tournament, I was like, okay, what are we doing? So we did our own version of March Madness called Quarantunes, where we had 16 really awesome volunteers put together videos, and patrons were able to go online and vote with $1. It was $1 per vote for which of the two they liked. And then the winner moved on to the next bracket until we crowned our Quarantunes champion. So that was a huge, the community loved it. It was something that I think we're actually going to end up doing at least again next year to see how it goes in March. And it was something that kind of came out of nowhere that was fun. We've got a virtual Mother's Day concert coming up in May.
Wow.
We've called some of our volunteers to put together songs that remind them of their moms. They want to dedicate to their moms. Some of them are singing with their moms. And we're going to edit all of these together into a full concert. And people will be able to purchase tickets, and we'll send them a link and a password, and they can stream it from home. So they can, do something little things like that. We have set it up to where people can actually purchase gift certificates on our website. So it's been a really nice, we've had lots of people say, I'm planning ahead. I know that as soon as I can and as soon as you guys are open, I want to come see a show. So they'll get a gift certificate that they just have to call in and redeem, or can redeem online. So it's helping us now, but then they're also having something to look forward to without a set date on it. We've set it up to where people who are interested in buying subscriptions can purchase those online. Subscriptions are a fantastic way to actually save money. You get tickets for all 5 of our Capital Series shows for the price of about $3.50.
Wow, okay.
And then you get discounts if you decide, oh, I've got tickets for Matilda for me, and if you decide to get it for you and your wife, but you want to bring some kids, Then you can get
Mm-hmm.
discounted tickets for them. It's a subscription is really great just because it kind of opens you up to opportunities. You always have tickets for a show, discounts. We have some great dining partners, Mestizos, Bistro Byron's, where you do a dinner and a show. You go in before the show you're coming to see, and they'll give you a discount on your meal.
Wow.
So it's
That's
being a subscriber has its perks, that's for sure.
it's interesting. I've got another client that we're working with. It's not in the theater space, but similar to where they need to be able to convey, entertainment. And we found for them, it was extremely, easy. And we set up where they had their own Apple TV channel and their own Roku channel now to where, they can set that up and then they can just load their content, push it out. And they're even able to charge for that channel, like a service like a HBO Go type service on
Amazing.
a one-time or a subscription. But it's really, it's an easy thing to do if you know what you're doing. And so we set it up. They're pushing content, and I think they're going live pretty soon to where their campaign's gonna be telling people, hey, you can't come to us anymore, but we can come
We'll
to your
come to
living
you.
room.
So we're trying to find that balance, and it's finding that balance of I don't know that we ever want it to turn into nothing but streaming. Like, I don't think you don't ever want to lose that live aspect, because that's what theater is. Theater is being in the room when it happens, getting the emotion and the intensity of feeling the emotions of people around you and from the actors. But it's making the most of the situation that we're in and saying, okay, this is where we're at, guys. How do we still service our mission and keep everybody safe and make sure we're keeping the doors open, kind of hitting all of these checks at the same time.
You have to stay, live in the moment, but to think, it's like to have those conversations where it's like, yeah, maybe that's an idea. Maybe we could stream live, to people's living rooms. And then it's like, well, we're not want to get rid of the theater, but it's like, what about maybe people that grew up, here?
We've got so many people that have moved away.
It could be like, hey, what I'm getting at is the situation we're in now is opening up everyone's eyes to going, maybe we do, maybe we need to have a streaming, idea. There's so much technology's touched our lives in so many ways. I was kind of preparing for our call and I was looking, Tom, I don't know if you've heard, if you remember the Google glasses that everyone had years ago.
Yeah.
And they kind of it was like they were ridiculously expensive, and then they faded out and there never could be a real practical use for it. I found an article that over in Europe, there is a theater that is using the Google glasses for people that are deaf, to where when they go watch the show, they put the glasses on, and as the actors walk around stage and talk, it puts subtitles above them.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was like,
really
that's amazing. So they can go and enjoy the theater, real time, just like everybody else. It's
finding ways to adapt and make sure you're being inclusive and reaching all corners of your community. And I love that.
It was amazing, to say the least. I was like, I always wondered where that technology was going to go. And yeah, there's some applications, but the theater never would. Just, it's off topic, but it's the same thing. Would we have ever been talking, 6 months ago about like, hey, why don't we just stream and make, apps and, things like that? No, we'd be, how do we get more people in the camps? So you've got a plan. There's obviously people can hit the website and, purchase these tickets, these gift certificates, these packs. You are planning on operating in hopes of getting camp, going for, kids.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out how to just what the best way to do it is. I think at the very least, my instinct is, even if we're not necessarily on a full stay-at-home order by the beginning of June, are we going to be where you're allowed to have 30 kids in one room for 6 hours out of a day? So kind of what are those backup plans? How does that change what we're doing? So we are going for, like, our plan is to do camps in some form or fashion, whether we're able to have them in the space and in the theater, or if we're doing things virtually, we will have camps going on. Our goal is to finalize what those plans are by May 1st and have that official announcement out there so parents can start deciding what it is they're interested in, what would work for their kids, and go from there.
I think that's I think everybody's kind of in the same boat, but it's good to hear you guys have plans. I've talked to some people and they've just said no. I've had, not here in Baton Rouge, but I guess there was a couple here in Baton Rouge, but I've talked to some people that have just literally just folded over and said we're done, and it's so sad.
It's
To hear.
heartbreaking.
Well, it's I talked, another publisher that I knew literally just said, no, we're done. And it was like, you never would have said that, 60 days ago. And then now you're completely going in another direction. And I think that's, a testament to you and everyone on the staff over there, that it's like, hey, we're a physical place where we need crowds of people. And we're not going to give up. We're going to find a way to keep doing this. If it's, if we go online, whatever it takes, the show will go on.
Right. And our staff there are 9 of us that are working regularly, and everyone is in that same, what can we do? What can we do from home? Mm-hmm. How can we make this work? We've all got that. I don't think it's not just a job for any of us. It's a second home. It's a family. We all, eat, sleep, and breathe. Our blood, sweat, and tears are Theater Baton Rouge. So we're all very much on the same page of doing what we need to do to make sure we can provide
to be ready
quality theater for the community, by the community.
That's what I hope, to come out of this, is with everything that's going on, there might have been a lot of people in the community that very well, love the theater, but just hasn't been on top of their mind. It's
that's incredibly understandable. It's not. There are so many things going on, and we've got people who are dealing with having to either, not having a job anymore, or having to figure out how to do their job from home while they're teaching their kids who are now there all day. And it's a lot. So it's completely understandable that, community theater is not at the top of your mind. But what we do want to try to do is say that we are here. We do want to be offering content. We're trying to put together things that will help you escape for a little while, to still provide that theatrical escape of what you would get from coming to see a show. Something to take your mind off of things, a way to kind of sit with your family and watch a show, or watch clips, or reminisce through photos. Well,
what I think a lot of people, may not have, caught up or, connected the dots, but maybe we'll let the cat out of the bag here, is all the, the traditional shows that they're watching, on your major networks or your major streaming, all of those, you've got some runway there where you've got some episodes, but all those shows stopped filming. They all
eventually you're gonna
everybody knows that time of year where it's like there's no new shows. They don't come back. We
hit that about 2 months early this time. There's no more Grey's Anatomy for me to watch on Thursdays, and I'm very upset about it.
And so that's hopefully in your cases, whenever they get back, it's going to take a while for everybody to get back, to get the shows shooting, filming, editing, and it's going to build that supply chain. It's going to take a while. And so hopefully maybe some people, fill that gap. You guys you've got rehearsals, but you're doing them online. You've got shows. So you're ready right on the other end of it. So for maybe somebody who's never considered community theater, now's the time, to get out and
check it out. Yep. And then it's always something that when things are back up and running, you want to pick up a new hobby, come by Theater Baton Rouge. We are completely volunteer based. So it's all of our actors are volunteers from the community. We've got teachers, students, real estate agents who work their 9 to 5s and come join our family in the evenings for rehearsal. Work backstage, work in the volunteer out front, handing out programs and taking tickets. It's all,
and the
all of those people are volunteers.
People, may not realize, I can testify to it. I'm not a personality. We're doing this kind of interview here impromptu mainly to, help everyone. But the theater helps, I think, everyone in perspective where if it's that impromptu, if it's being able to speak, if it's not, it can help you in your job. It can help you, in your daily life to where, you're more assured of yourself, more confident, so encourage people, give it a shot, it'll help.
And it's a lot of fun, and you'll meet some really great people that you would have never met otherwise.
Awesome. Well, anything that we're missing before we start to kind of wrap it up today? And don't want to take too much of your time. You guys have got some virtual rehearsal.
Yep, we've got lots to do. I think that's everything. I think we covered all of it.
Awesome. Well, hopefully this helps you get the word out. We're going to do our part and do as much as we can to get it out for everybody. Thank you for
Thank
everything
you.
that you do, the staff,
Thank
everyone
you
over
guys.
there.
This is great.
It's we'll have to come back and do it again. Give us an update and let us know, kind
for
of how
sure.
things are and see
For
what's going
sure.
on.
Awesome.
All righty. Well, thank you so much. We'll have fun. We'll see y'all next time.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.